Very good evening. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining the Bhagavad Gita Satsang, the way of life as described by Lord Shri Krishna to Arjuna. Om Shri Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. We'll be continuing Chapter 7, the Yoga of Jnana, that is knowledge of Nirguna Brahma and Vijnana, knowledge of manifest divinity. And we will be completing today the condemnation of men who are ignorant of the glory and true nature of God and approbation of those who know them. So let us continue from where we stopped, that is Chapter 7, verse 27 onwards. O valiant Arjuna, through delusion in the form of pairs of opposites such as pleasure and pain, etc., born of desire and aversion, all living creatures in this world are falling a prey to infatuation. This is very, very, very important, and let me explain a little bit in detail. So let me reread the verse once again for you to understand. O valiant Arjuna, through delusion in the form of pairs of opposites such as pleasure and pain, etc., born of desire and aversion, all living creatures in this world are falling a prey to infatuation. You know, today everybody is in this condition. Everybody is going through this. See, one of the most important lessons which Lord Shri Krishna has been imparting to Arjuna is that you have to, overcome the pairs of opposites, which means you need to have equanimity of mind. Equipoise of mind is extremely important, especially for those who are on the path of spirituality and also for those who are in the material world who don't want to get entangled in Maya, in the bondage or in the delusion that is caused by being attached or being, reacting to things in this world. Like when your sense comes in contact with the sense objects, you start responding, reacting, all that happens. But when you have equanimity of mind, nothing affects you. But this is very difficult to achieve. But how can you achieve is something that I will today teach you. Now, what Lord Shri Krishna is telling you is simply this. Say, example, you have your old father, old mother, or your husband, child, whosoever. So they are sick. Assuming, today sickness has taken us all by toll, because you see the world is going through a lot of troublesome period due to pandemic. Last 2 years has been difficult, but yes, we have that fighting spirit within us. And we have been able to circumvent, to whatever extent we have been able to survive through this tough situation in our life. But there are a lot of people who became victims of pandemic and many lost their lives. Many suffered through a lot of difficulties. It was a tough period for all of us. Now, what is he saying is that, when man, a human being, through delusion in the form of pairs of opposites such as pleasure and pain, born of what? Desire and aversion. See, some people say, okay, it is my desire. Now, I want to see my parents healthy. But what happens if you don't see them healthy and they're suffering through a lot of, diseases, a lot of challenges in their life? You get carried away. You become completely depressed. You're lost in that, you're lost in that situation. You're lost in that circumstances. You're given to, trying to fight through the whole thing. And you're praying to God, oh, I wish my mother gets all right. I wish my father is healthy. I wish this happens. I wish my child becomes normal. Too many things. And then we go to temple and remember God at that moment in time so that He can solve your problem. But life is not about all that. See, one very important lesson we must understand and accept is that this body, has come with its own karmas, whether it is, good, bad, or whatever sickness, whatever that it has to get in life or it has to repay. It's come on this planet Earth, on this, in this world, the existence in this world, it has manifested or it has born for a repayment purpose alone, which means You have to repay, and that is why you're born as this human being. And not just that, please remember, one is the repayment, and second is you have been given an opportunity by God himself by giving you this human form. Only through human form can you attain God realization. So your goal has to be to redeem yourself. But what happens when a man is born as a human being? He gets carried away with the glitz and glamour, with everything, the beautiful things that is there, the attraction that happens in our world, The sense object draws us. Come, look at me, come to me, come to me. It keeps drawing our attention. So we get carried away into the world of Maya. We fall prey to that. We come into contact with any sense object. Either we want to possess, we come in bondage, we get attached, and then we suffer. And everything is because of our desire. The pleasure and pain is born of desire and aversion. Pleasure is born of desire. The pleasure to having to enjoy good food, good life, more money. I want to buy a car. I want to own this. I want to wear good clothes. You name it. Any desire is cause of your miseries, which is what Lord Sri Krishna taught us. Now what happens? If you see your family or anybody else suffering, you're affected by it tremendously. And when there is a challenge, with money not being there, sufficient funds not being available, whatever that you're, suffering and having a troublesome period in your life, you blame it all on God. But God has not put you through this. Please remember. And this is what we forget. The knowledge is what missing in us. We think God is the one who's making us suffer. No. You're born to certain parents. You're born in certain family. You're born in, certain associations because there is a repayment. Either you have to receive or you have to repay them. That is the only reason why you're born in that particular family, that particular, surroundings, circumstances and everything. So it is your karma alone. Why are you blaming God for it? Is God responsible? On the contrary, God is very kind. He gives you His grace. He is very benevolent, and He's telling you, don't get carried away into Maya. I'll tell you how you can avoid. This is very simple and it's very nice. Those who have the grace of having a guru in your life, the guru teaches you how to circumvent this destiny. When you have the grace of the Guru, it is possible to override your destiny. So what the Guru does is, he is the one who knows your past, your present and your future as well. Why? Because Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, the divine God, Lord, the Parabrahma has manifested in the form of a God. And then what is he doing to you? He is showing you the right path. The right direction is what he's giving you. He's telling you, don't do this, do this. When you obey the Lord, that is the Guru, when you just exactly follow what your Guru wants you to do, let me tell you this much, the destiny can be overridden. But if you fail to follow your Guru and end up doing what you feel like it, then you are going to face the repercussions of your destiny. Then you have to, literally go through that hell. And that is called Maya. And that is, what is it? It's a pain, it's suffering, or it's a pleasure as well, where you can become somebody great, you get all the wealth in the world, and then what happens? You become greedy. The lust and greed comes in a human being very easily. Arrogance comes, pride comes, all the Shadripus rise in a human being. And those demons, that's the evil. Those demons will help you very easily for your downfall. They are not going to help you rise and become divine. They're on the contrary going to make you fall down. So, since you should not fall prey to all of this, when you seek the grace of the divine Lord, He shows you the path. He tells you, do this, don't get into your desires. Desires are the root cause of sufferings. So what you have to do is, you have to simply surrender everything at the lotus feet of the divine Lord. You just have to tell Him, Lord, you take care. You know what is right for me. You are my Father. I am just your child. Give me that which is right for me. So when you get without your demands, and then whatever that comes to you comes in a very pure manner. There is no karma accruing to it. There are no sin in that. Whatever that you have to get, the Lord bestows upon you at the right moment, at the perfect timing. So we say it is God's appointed timing. But if you go on begging the divine Lord, and you just kind of make, the cranky child, it's always irritating the mother. I want a chocolate, I want a balloon, I want this, I want that. Just so that the mother, just says, oh God, I want this annoyance to be stopped, so the mother just gives you what you want. But is it good for you? It's not. Likewise, the Lord also, when you keep asking Him your demands, He just gives you. But at the end of the day, that whatever that you get, whatever your demands are, and you get that comes with a baggage, a whole load of karma along with that. And then you're going to suffer more. So why do you ask something that you don't know what is the outcome going to be? So don't ask. And that is why in entire Bhagavad Gita, Lord Shri Krishna says, give up your desires. Just surrender unto me. Anyway, I am your Father. I will anyway bestow upon you that which is right for you, because I know what is good for you. And please remember, to overcome whatever the sufferings, we have to repay. See, this body has to go through the prarabdha karma. It has a repayment. But when you listen to the Guru, his grace is so strong that he cushions everything. Your suffering is met with a very minimal, okay? It's only a very basic thing that you will have to go through that. It's like a scratch on your body. The pain and the impact is never going to be felt. That is his grace. But what happens to human beings? We don't listen. We get fearful. Oh, what is going to happen? My mother is going to die. My father is going to die. Please accept they are only your parents in this very life of yours. They have never been with you. So why are you bothered? Whatever that association that you have in this life of yours is because you have to give some repayment has been there. And that is the only reason why you're born to them. But if you think they are your real parents, and that is where the suffering comes, it becomes even stronger because of your attachment. Oh, this is my father, this is my mother. But in reality, they are nothing to you. Understand that one important lesson. You don't have to become attached to anybody. So the word is, you have to practice dispassion. The next word is detachment. And the third important thing is discrimination, which means you understand everything in this world that is happening is unreal. And whatever that I am going through right now is nothing but Maya. And that is Maya. My Guruji, if you listen to my Krishna Guruji satsangs, he has narrated this beautiful story. Even I have narrated this in my many satsangs about Narad Muni going to Narayana and asking him, I want to experience Maya. And to which Lord Narayana says, oh, you don't want to. Why do you want to experience Maya? He says, no, I've been listening from everybody talking, about Maya. Who is this Maya? I want to know her. And that's it. And then, when Lord asks Narad Muni, please go bring a glass of water to me. He goes to the river to fetch water. But what happens? He sees a beautiful lady there. He falls in love with her. He gets married to her. He's got 2 children. And then there is a flood in their village. His wife dies. His children die. And then he's holding on to, when the flood, washes away the village, they're all washed away. He's holding on to a temple Gopuram, we say. The tip of the temple, he's holding on to that. And then what happens at the time? He's calling out, Narayana, come save me. And that's when Lord Vishnu says, Narada, where are you? I've been waiting here for the water. That is Maya. And just in a fraction of a second, he fell into that Maya. But what is real then? The real is that the divine Lord is real, who is actually there. But whatever the experience that he went through is unreal. And that is Maya. So whatever that you experience in the material world connected to your body is nothing but Maya. Whether it is good or bad, both. When you get some rewards, accolades, some recognitions, aren't you going to feel extremely mighty pleased? You're very happy and you think, oh, I've done something fantastic in my life. And you're going to revel in that. What is that called? Something good happening to you. But isn't that Maya too? Because everything in the material world is unreal. But what is the one thing which is real? That is called the divine Lord, the truth. And that is the discrimination which we need to have. The discrimination is to understand what is real from the unreal. When you are able to discriminate in this manner, then you're not going to become delusional by what happens around you, and then you will have the perfect equanimity of mind. And only in the equanimity of mind can you experience the oneness with Lord Shri Krishna. That is where you can find him, not when you keep swaying between the pairs of opposites. And that is the reason why when you walk the path in spirituality, you are put to a lot of tests where people are going to call you names, they're going to say bad things about you, they're going to ill-treat you. At that time, how much of equanimity of mind can you show? That determines the strength of the spiritual knowledge within you. Otherwise, then you still have a long way to evolve. Please remember, that is exactly what is saying here. O valiant Arjuna, through delusion in the form of pairs of opposites such as pleasure and pain, born of desire and aversion. So we're talking about desires. Now we'll talk about aversion. What does aversion mean? I don't like this. I hate this world. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to do this. I don't like. So I don't like everything. What you think you like, you dislike it. That dislike, that hatred, that aversion is what again is a cause of your delusion. So there is no hate or love, in the material world. So there's no pleasure and pain. Both doesn't exist. It's immaterial. So likewise, what are you aversion about? This world. Please understand, this world is a beautiful and a perfect creation of Lord Almighty. He has already predefined. He has already programmed it. You can't change how the world has been programmed. It is going to go through its own process. And the Divine Lord is going to manifest time and again to impart the same esoteric knowledge. In one of the verses, Lord Shri Krishna says to Arjuna, I know your past, present and future as well. Why? Because we keep being born again and again. We come together. This is not the first time we are meeting. But I know everything of your life. And every time we come together, we serve a purpose. But Arjuna, you don't know because you don't have that understanding. You can't see through your past nor your future. So why bother? You just have to do your duty alone. And that is exactly what the Divine Lord tells us. And that is where we human beings give into our state of mind, where I like something, then I'm going to work. If I have aversion, then I don't want to do this. And that I don't want to, it's everything connected to your mind. And that is why it is taught that the first important rule in spirituality is surrender your mind to the Divine Lord and to the lotus feet of the Divine Lord. That surrender has to happen. Then you become a clay in the hands of the Guru. And then he molds you in the way you have to be molded. So he makes a beautiful sculpture where you become that an idol, which is a form of the divinity. And that is what he gives you. He makes you into that divine being. But for which you have to become a clay in his hands. But if you don't become the clay, how will he mold you? You're going to be very rigid. You say, I don't want to change. Then nothing works. Then no change can be brought in you. The transformation, the change has to be very much brought in a human being, which is very important for the spiritual growth, for the spiritual progress, which means becoming the divine self is extremely important. See, being an average human being, anybody can. So what's the difference between you and anybody in this world? Everybody is, living their karma. They're all going through that. People have all the evil tendencies. They are sometimes very mean to others. They have all the anger, hatred, all the Shadripus filled. But nobody makes an effort to become their divine self, which is their good self. Everybody knows I'm not supposed to say lies. I'm not supposed to be mean to people. I'm supposed to be good. But how many do actually follow? Even if you're not going to. Why? Because of your inherent nature. But when you understand the truth, when you make an effort to become divine, the grace comes. The grace is through knowledge. The grace is through Guru. You will walk that path. You will meet the right people who will help you go through that process. Sorry. So they will, support you through the process. And at that moment in time, you will be able to live that lessons. You will be able to practice. But it's not easy, like I said. That determination has to be very strong. Like, I don't care about how people look at me. I don't bother about what they say about me. I'm only going to focus on what I've been taught, what I have come here to do in this world, when you have the determination, that grit and determination, that strength, indomitable spirit, if we say, and when you have that, nobody can deter you, and then this delusion will not touch you at all, because you have a guru, and his grace will never let anybody come and disturb you when you do his work. So doing your swadharma is very important. And if you don't do your swadharma, then you're going to be suffering like any other human being, going through all the miseries of this worldly existence. And then he's saying, all living creatures in this world are falling a prey to infatuation. What does infatuation mean? See, there is in life we believe that I am in love with someone. I hate somebody. It's a sort of an infatuation. See, love cannot be shifting. Means you love sometimes, then you hate sometimes. It can't. A love which is very momentary or felt only for a time being, it's more like an infatuation. We say, oh, that is an infatuation, that's not a love. So we get stricken by this infatuations constantly. And so what happens? So we are falling prey to whatever happens in our world. Oh, I'm suffering, I don't have money, I don't have a job, my parents are sick. There's so many things that happens. I have to fend for my family. I'm the sole breadwinner. I don't know what to do. I don't know what is my life all about. What's going to happen tomorrow? We all live in this fearful life, falling a prey to, what does he say? In this world, the creatures in this world are falling a prey to infatuation. So we have fallen prey to infatuation. And then there is no end to that. So then we have to live a miserable life and we die a death, whatever the death that is being defined in our world. And we die one day. Then what happens? Again, we are born to go through the same suffering. But God has given you that one chance of redeeming yourself. Why not make an effort to redeem yourself? That is what you have to focus on. So let us continue. I hope you understood this lesson. But those men of virtuous deeds, whose sins have come to an end, being freed from delusion, in the form of pairs of opposites, of attraction and repulsion, worship me with a firm resolve in every way. Very beautiful again. So what is the Lord telling here? But those men of virtuous deeds. And that is why it is important that you always do virtuous deeds in your life. So we say, right, good begets good and evil begets evil. So why do you want to become evil? Let the world do whatever it has to. You don't have to stoop down to their level. My Guruji will always teach one very beautiful lesson. He'll always say to everyone, be your good self. Let the world do what it wants. Let them behave however they want. But you should not stoop down to their level. So virtuous deeds, be your good self, be compassionate to people and forgive them, because like Lord Jesus says, forgive them, Father, for they do not know what they commit. They are ignorant beings. So this world, people are ignorant beings. So just pardon them and you be a good self. Do that which is divine deeds, which are good deeds in this world. Be kind to everybody, be nice to everybody. Follow the path of righteousness. Work hard, strive hard, build your knowledge. Knowledge is very important. So educate yourself. Knowledge, it's not just about a mundane knowledge in the world, but also about when you understand, how do you understand a subject in the real manner, in the way it has to be understood, understood by you. Like my Krishna Guruji is the master of both the worlds, the spiritual and the material world. He knows how this whole world works. So he's all knowing because he's Lord Shri Krishna himself. Can anybody be better teacher than him? Of course not. So he gives an understanding about how the world works. But we use our mind not wanting to listen. Why? Because we think we know too much. That is our problem. So first is we have to surrender the mind and then have an open mind to learn and observe. And once you do this, you will evolve. But most important, virtuous deeds. So that is why we say, if you want a better life in the next, at least the next birth, you should do everything that is virtuous, that is good. Being a good self will earn you a better life, a better future. So why do you want to again being born in the same miserable condition? So, but those men of virtuous deeds whose sins have come to an end, what does that mean? Their karma has already, come to an end. Such people being freed from delusion in the form of pairs of opposites. So when your karmas have come to an end, then these people, these beings are freed from delusion, which is born of pairs of opposites, born of attraction and repulsion, something you like, something you hate, and worship me with a firm resolve in every way. These are the people who worships Lord Sri Krishna, in a very firm and a resolved way. And then they don't deter. They are just, they're established in oneness with him at all times. They don't deter at all. So that is what you have to aspire in your life as well. But for which first you have to perform all the virtuous deeds. Please remember, not being evil. See, evil though everybody are. Even as a normal human being, you have both the divine and the demonic qualities within you. So what do you want to be? The choice rests with you alone. So let us all pray and make an effort that we evolve in this world and not, become evil, not fall down. So like my Guruji says, the sun shines on everybody, equally. But how many do take that, how many do use that the rays of the sun? Likewise, the light of the sun, Similarly, the Lord's grace is on everybody. But how many do actually take it? He's always giving, he's saying, hold my hand, I will walk you through this. I will take you out of this, that which you are in, you're suffering. But nobody wants to give him that hand. Nobody wants to walk with him. They think the Lord is doing something unjust to them. He's not kind to me. He's giving somebody else, but he's not doing it for me. But like I said, he knows what to give you, when to give you. There is a time, and only at that time when he gives you, everything will be perfect, not when you demand. So don't be that adamant child who demands things. When you demand and you get it, you're going to suffer more. So don't ask for things that you can't handle, because see, everything comes with a baggage. And we don't know what we're asking for because we think this is what we want. Why? That is what our mind has told us. So do you really understand how to lead a life, how to, go through something when you get or handle something big in your life, whether it is position, power or money you get, how to handle that wealth also. Till you don't have that knowledge, till you are not capable enough of handling that wealth, how can you then demand things in life? So don't have these desires. So when you give up all these things and follow a very righteous path, being your good self, you will then overcome all your sins. All your sins will get wiped out. And when you attain that oneness with the Divine Lord, you're firmly established in Lord Sri Krishna. That is what is saying. And they make a firm resolve in every way. So there's no way they can deter from that path of devotion to the Divine Lord. So let us continue. They who have taken refuge in me strive for deliverance from old age and death. Know Brahma, the absolute, the whole Adhyatma, the totality of jivas or embodied souls, and the entire field of karma, that is action, as well as my integral being, comprising Adibhuta, the field of matter, then Adidaiva, that is Brahma, and Adi Yajna, that the unmanifest divinity dwelling in the heart of all beings as their witness. And they who possessed of a steadfast mind know thus, even at the hour of death, they too know me alone. Wow, this is a very huge, it's a lot of things that he's saying. So let us understand what is Lord Shri Krishna teaching to Arjuna here. So the Lord is saying, they who have taken refuge in me strive for deliverance from old age and death. What is he surfacing? Those who have taken refuge in the Divine Lord, they strive for deliverance from old age and death. See, old age is a very painful journey, let me tell you. And people are today afraid of death. Every human being who's born is afraid of death. They think death is something very scary. But why should you fear death? Why do you think you have to live in this world, in this world for to eternity? And then old age. When old age comes, you feel lost. You feel, you're alone. There's nobody with you. You feel completely left out. There are a lot of different things that comes to a human being when they become old. Take the example of your parents. They, today with the technology advancement that has happened, there's a huge gap. between the older generation and the young generation. Today the younger generation even communicates everything through their phone. They are so savvy, they're tech savvy, they're constantly lost in their phone. But the old people are trying to adapt, trying to keep up with them. I was giving a very beautiful story about a very interesting movie called Home, and how the father is trying to cope up with, in keeping up to the mark with the children, keeping with them. So he's trying to learn, he's trying to be one with them. That gap, so that old age is a very painful thing. I'm not saying it's only through because of technology, but also that old age brings you fear. Oh, I'm sick. What happens to me? I'm alone. Something might happen to me. Who's there to take care of me? Where is the money going to come from? What is going to happen tomorrow to my daughter, my son, my wealth? People are lost in this kind of things. Why should it bother? Why are you bothered about how is your son going to be, daughter going to be? That is because you're attached. And then in the old age, they think they're responsible for their children. See, the problem is nobody understands that even this everybody, rather, I'm not just saying old people, everybody are the children of God. So what makes some parents think, oh, it is my children, it's my duty, I have to protect them, I have to take care of them? That's because that is what they are understood. So especially when they are old, they are bothered about the distribution of wealth. Oh, who gets how much? And then there is fight within the family for the wealth. And if your parents die and they have not made a will, and then that's a disaster. The children are going to fight brutally. Today, this is the world we have entered in. So, even a piece, that is why in Guru Charitra, one of the Lord Dattatraya's 24 principal Guru, a bird has a small food, piece of food in its beak, and everybody is chasing this bird. The moment that piece of food drops off, everybody goes away. So like that, this whole world is like that. People will flock. They're all like vultures who come and want to take their pound of flesh. They'll come for your money, but they're not interested in you. So this is what is Maya all about. When you understand this truth, then you're not going to be bothered about anything. You're going to be just, lost in the divine Lord, serving Him, serving His purpose. And then nothing, touches you. That is how it has to be. His grace and His devotion and love becomes an insulation around you. It's like a firewall. You become like that lotus leaf which is untouched by the water. And you're only doing your job in this world, which is to fulfill the purpose of this human existence, where you are here born to serve the purpose of the divine Lord. And that has to be your goal. So old age doesn't matter, neither death affects you. Then you will be perfectly, you will accept life the way it is, and then you will walk through the process. It's going to be just like sleepwalking. That's all. So why should you be afraid of old age or death? The body is born, it's going through its process, and it has to go through. So, birth, when you're born, the acceptance that our death is inevitable. Then why should a human being fear death? This is because we don't have that understanding. We live in fear. Oh, what has happened? When am I going to die? And then there are desires. They feel, I have not done this in my life, and that is another painful existence because you're carrying forward your life. So give up all that. So then what he says, they who have taken refuge in me strive from the deliverance of this old age and death. So when you understand this truth, right, this is what Lord Shri Krishna gives you, the knowledge. And then you're not going to be bothered about old age and death. So they strive for deliverance of old age and death. No Brahma, the absolute, the whole Adhyatma. No Brahma. What does it mean? The absolute, which is unmanifest. They know the Brahma, that, the unmanifest divinity. Here, this is the knowledge, the jnana of unmanifest divinity. They understand the Brahma. Then the whole Adhyatma, that is the totalities of jivas or embodied soul. Adhyatma. What does that mean, Adhyatma? See, we talk about the spiritual understanding. So he says the totality of jivas or the embodied souls. The totality of jivas. Jivas is, we talk about the individual souls or the embodied souls. So we say, I am this body. So that is the understanding you will overcome. I am not this body. Adhyatma. What does spirituality means? The knowledge about the self. Knowledge is that I am the spirit and not the body. That is the understanding you will have. Then you know that in this entire embodied souls are nothing but they are the manifestation of the divine Lord himself. The creation has been manifested from him, which means God lives in everybody. The most important lesson and most important thing, which is not so easy to live, is to see the divine Lord in each of his creation, in everybody, to see God in everyone. It's not easy at all. We only think we can find God in our children. Can you treat somebody's children as your own children? No, you can't. There's always a differentiation. This is mine and that is mine. But the divine Lord who manifests as a guru, the guru takes on everybody as his own child. Can you do that? His own children. He treats everybody equally and gives that which is right for each of his child. In Radha Krsna Paramahamsaji, the story is something that I have repeated n number of times. A guru is such that he feeds each of his child like a mother who feeds her 5 children, the same fish in different dishes. Like to one she makes a fish pulav, to another child of hers she makes a fish fry, fish curry, like that, so on and so forth. The guru is like this mother who knows what is right for each one of his children, each one of his child, and then feeds them accordingly. But we human beings think, oh, my guru is unjust, he doesn't know, my God is not giving me, God, why is so unkind to me? We always curse the divine Lord, we accuse, we say a lot of bad things. But please remember, it is the God, the kind Lord is always compassionate, he's ever caring, he takes care about us, he takes care of us. He's always there, his grace is there, but we don't see it. We are such mean people. And that is called the evil propensities which exist in the human being. That meanness, that smallness, that becoming divine is to overcome all of this. So the Adhyatma is not outside, is within. And that is the understanding that you need to have. And he's saying here, they understand this truth as well. And the entire field of karma, action, as well as my integral being. So they understand the entire truth of the entire field of karma. What does field of karma mean? Action. Field of karma simply means that you understand that you have any body that you're born in has its own duties. But the only thing you are supposed to do is do the actions or perform the actions as per Lord Sri Krishna's dharma. The righteousness which he defines, not what material worldly people think righteousness means. So that is what he understands. The field of karma, that is action, as well as my integral being, the Lord as in my integral being. So who's Lord's integral being? What does that mean? The self within us, the being, we say human being. Why do we say this word being? Being means what? Your just existence. And the divine Lord is existing at all times. My integral being. The being is us. But we don't recognize that self, that being, the divine being. We don't. We look at very human being. There's a beautiful way how you understand. So he says, as well as my integral being, they understand. And what happens? Comprising. What is this integral being comprising? Comprising of Adibhuta, the field of matter. The field of matter. Adibhuta. Which is what is matter of the 5 elements. So which means the truth is the entire creation has come out of the Panchabhuta, we say, right? The elements, which is nothing but Prakriti. She is the mother of the nature. She creates this universe. And everything comes from her and again goes back in her. When you die, the body goes back into the matter. That's the elements, right? It has to go back. So where it comes from, it goes back into it. It dissolves into it. So that is the truth. So the Adibhuta. So everything is part of his integral being. So Adibhuta, the field of matter. Then Adidhaiva is Brahma, which is unmanifest alone. And Adiyajna, the unmanifest divinity, dwelling in the heart of all beings, the dwelling in the heart of all beings. The unmanifest divinity, what does that mean? The spirit, spirituality, the spirit in everyone, which is this unmanifest divinity dwelling in the heart of all beings as their witness. That is why Lord Sri Krishna says, I am mere a witness. I am not subject to any action at all. He is witnessing everything at all times. He doesn't act. The one who acts is his integral being, which is the Prakriti. And she's the one who she's one of the aspects who acts. See, the Divine Lord is always a passive principle. The Shakti or the Mother Nature, Ma you can call her, or the Adi Shakti or Adi Parashakti we say. The one who's the creatrix of this universe is the active principle. So they both are principle. So that is what he's talking about. Now he's saying the unmanifest, which is Adi Yajna, the unmanifest divinity dwelling in the heart of all beings as their witness. So this is what the one who have taken refuge in the Divine Lord understands. And then what he's saying, and they who possessed of a steadfast mind know thus, even at the hour of death, they too know me alone. And one with a steadfast mind, even at the hour of death, they too know me alone. See, this is very important. And you know why? Especially when you're dying, you shouldn't be thinking about, oh, tomorrow I wish my son takes care of my company, my wealth that I've created. Then you will be born again into some gutter life of, some many lives, whatever your future life is going to be. You're going to again come back as that being, a human being. But when you think of the Divine Lord, even at the hour of the death, you attain the lotus feet of the Divine Lord. You merge in Him. You become one with Him. That is what happens to you. And that is why Lord Shri Krishna teaches in one of the verses, He'll explain how even at the hour of the death, if you're thinking about some other object, you're actually going to attain that object. But the object, if it is me, you're taking you're chanting His name, you're taking the name of the Lord, you will attain the Divine Lord alone. So that is why you have to practice. You have to constantly keep chanting the name of the Divine Lord within your being. But does your mind ever do that? No, it will never do that. And if you experience in all these great beings, the devotees of the Lord, like my Guruji, every pore of this being will only chant the name of the Lord, the source from which he comes. And that is all you have to make. And if you are privileged and if you have a Guru mantra, keep chanting it. That should become the beat of the heartbeat should only chant the mantra, because that is the source. And that is what you will attain. Through that japa, that divinity will be attainable. So that is the amount of focus you have to put. Initially, you have to do it focused in a focused manner, but later it becomes a part of you. So you keep chanting the name of the Divine Lord. Every pore of your being has to chant. That is what you have to attain. So today we have come to end of the chapter 7. So thus, even at the hour of death, they too know me alone. And so practice this and you will attain the Divine Lord, where you will redeem yourself from the bondage and cycle of birth and death. So thus in the Upanishad sung by the Lord, the science of Brahma, the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna ends the 7th chapter entitled The Yoga of Jnana, knowledge of Nirguna Brahma, and Vijnana, knowledge of manifest divinity. So in our next satsang, we will begin with a new chapter, that is chapter 8. Thank you for joining the Bhagavad Gita satsang, the way of life as described by Lord Shri Krishna to Arjuna. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha, Om Shri Gurudev Datta, Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Digambara Digambara Shri Pad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Guru Nathanatha Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum.